Hello, 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 hello. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to my latest live video from my safe. I just realized something. I forgot to turn my lights on in the back. let me take care of that real quick. Technical difficulties. There we go. Now that looks better. But yeah, so welcome to my latest live video. We're live, so mistakes happen. And it's actually my last live video of 2020. It's just an impromptu video I decided yesterday. I was like, you know what? Since today's the last day of 2020 and what a year, how about I jump on YouTube real quick and do a live video and just hang out with you guys for this last day of 2020, and mostly like really come on here to essentially say thank you to everybody for, riding with my channel and being here with me for this year. I see people are starting to come in. I'm here. Yeah, so that's essentially what I came here to do. So this video, as it says in the title, this video is a live Q&A. So basically what that means is, like I said before when I did my last live Q&A, you guys are the Jedi and I am the lightsaber, which basically means you are running the show. So whatever questions you have, whatever you want to talk about, whatever topics you have, you can hit that right there in the chat, and then we can pretty much go from there. Granted, I only see it's like 3 people in here, so hopefully, give it more time for more people to show up. But also, actually, let me get this out the way first and foremost. Something that I kind of want to mention. I'm like, I know I need to get better at it, especially as I get my profile more or less grows on YouTube. But something happened to me the other day on my because I recently just reviewed Cobra Kai, which actually drops on Netflix tomorrow, New Year's, if you guys are interested in that. And even though I really enjoyed the show, the thing I'm always calling for in anything that I watch or read or anything like that is always, diversity. Black characters, gay characters, trans characters, Asian characters, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, despite really liking Cobra Kai and really enjoying it and really looking forward to not only just rewatching season 3, because I plan on rewatching season 3, but then also the next season, the season 4. But I was just like, there's not really that much in terms of like there's like one black person. And then I was like, since it's about karate, where's the gay kid learning about karate, wanting to overcome homophobia and bullying? And so I said that in my review. And I was like, Grant, that's not necessarily a notch on the show. Like, I still really enjoyed the show despite that, but I still mentioned it. And so because of that, like somebody in the comments was like so triggered and was just basically like, I need to know my place and how white people are, 70% of the population, which he's including Hispanic people. So it's like, it's not really 70%. But anyway, I bring that up to say, it's like, ultimately, I don't care about one random troll, but at the same time I do, because I'm bringing it up. And I'm just like, I think I need to get better at handling, or not even handling, but like letting go of stupid ass trolls that come into the comment section when I talk about something. So I think that's just something that I'm gonna work on in 2021 and beyond, and that's something that we can all work on. Just the name of the song is "Get That dirt off your shoulder. So I need to work on, sliding that off. But what we say? What question right here is, what were your favorite shows of 2020? Favorite shows of 2020. Well, Lovecraft Country is number one. So yeah, that's like obvious. Like that's taking the spot. No debate. No, yeah. Lovecraft Country. My second favorite show of the year will probably be Upload on Amazon Prime. And third favorite show, I'm like, what? I watched so much, surprisingly, because I didn't think there's gonna be anything coming out this year. But I'm like, surprisingly, I watched a lot of shows, and I'm like, what did I watch this year? Third favorite show, right now, and this might change. The first two aren't going to change, Lovecraft Country and Upload. But for right now, because this is the thing that's really sticking out in my head. So I'm like, if it's sticking out, it's for a reason. But I'm like, my third favorite show would probably be Love, Victor, that came out on Hulu, which was a spinoff of Love, Simon. So yeah, dubious space. Since you said, okay, I'm here, we can start now. Well, welcome. More people are starting to show up. So thank you guys for joining me. For those of you that are just joining, this is just basically a live Q&A. So as I said earlier, when I first started, I was like, you guys are the Jedi and I'm the lightsaber. So this basically, you're running the show. So you guys are basically controlling the direction of this live stream with whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to bring up in the chat, talk about movies, video games, whatever the time, or we could talk about non-nerd related stuff. You just want to hang out because it's the last day of the new year and just want to talk about how was your year. Like we could talk about whatever you want. I was just sitting here. I was like, it's the last day of the year. I should probably make a video for the last, just to hang out with you guys as my way of really just saying thank you guys for being a part of my channel. Thank you guys for subscribing and watching my videos and, riding with me for this year. Like I was a little worried for the most part about this year, especially when like the pandemic hit and stuff like that, because what is my channel about? My channel is mostly about reviewing stuff and reviewing new properties. And most of that is movies and stuff like that. And so once I think the last movie that I saw in theaters was Onward, Pixar's Onward. And then after that, it was like, theaters are shutting down. Everything's going to coronavirus. And A Quiet Place 2 was supposed to come out this year. That got pulled from theaters. Black Widow got pulled from theaters. All these movies got pulled from theaters. And then there were like productions on shows are getting shut down. Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out this year. WandaVision was supposed to come out this year. A bunch of shows were supposed to come, and movies and stuff were supposed to come out this year. So I was just like, and then like books got delayed, comics and all other stuff. I was just like, damn, what the hell? I was like, what am I going to even talk about on my channel? Like the world is ending. I don't know what's going on. But thankfully, there was still stuff that ended up coming out. And then I even went back and talked about some old stuff that I've been wanting to watch and hadn't gotten a chance to watch, and used that as an excuse to review. And you guys, for the most part, were pretty much here and riding with me for this whole year. So this live video is just really just to hang out with you guys as my way of saying thank you. I said say all that. Let's see, what is this? I want to watch Lovecraft Country, but I'm a scaredy cat with a highly active imagination who lives alone. So any potential horror makes me wibble. It looks great, though. I mean, that's kind of the point of horror, though, is to scare you. So here's a suggestion, because I have a friend. She's actually in the chat right now. She's definitely afraid of like ghost stories. And so because of that, any movie or show or anything like that that's dealing with ghosts, she has to either watch it during the day and watch it with somebody else. But eventually, maybe sometimes she'll watch it. Like even that third episode of Lovecraft Country that dealt with ghosts. So my suggestion for you is to like, I mean, well, we're in a pandemic, so you probably don't want to have people over your house. That's another reason why I'm doing this live, because I'm like, I haven't really done anything. I haven't really gone outside. I just sit in the house all day. So I'm like, I'm bored. Especially since I think I mentioned this to you guys before, but in case you don't know, because of coronavirus, I got laid off from my job back in October. I'm not saying that for sympathies or, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Basically, I say that to say is like, since getting laid off from my job, like plus the pandemic, like I don't do anything. Like I stay in the house, I wake up, I watch TV, I eat, maybe I'll play PlayStation, I go to sleep, and then it's like rinse and repeat every day. So it's like after 3 months, now it's like 3 months of that, I'm just like, I'm bored. So yesterday I was just like, I was sitting in the house, I was watching TV. I was just like, I'm bored. Maybe I should go live tomorrow because I'm bored. Let me. So anyway, so going back to what I was saying, like, yeah, like maybe if you don't have anybody, like maybe watch it on FaceTime, do a video watch party with people and watch Lovecraft Country, or watch it during the day with the lights open. But I definitely recommend checking it out. It's definitely a great watch. And also not every single episode is like horror-y. I would say maybe the first and the third episode are the more horror aspect of the show. But like other episodes, they do like different genres. Like I believe the Force, Star Wars. The fourth episode is more like Indiana Jones adventure type, and then like it changes from there. And granted, there's some still horror elements throughout, but for the most part, some episodes are less horror than others. So that helps sell you on the show. Hopefully that sold you on the show, because I definitely recommend checking that out. Hey, Dust Daughters. I listened to the return of Blurred Vision. Y'all sounded real good. Glad the podcast is back. Well, thank you for listening to the Blurred Vision podcast. And again, for those of you that don't know, before I started a YouTube channel, and this is actually really how my career as BlackGayComicGeek started as a reviewer and stuff like that, is I had a friend that if you don't, his name is Blurred Vision on Instagram, and I don't know if you guys know about, if you're like on Instagram, he has like over 100,000+ followers and stuff like that, and he ran a podcast, and he had other co-hosts or whatever, and they went away to London on vacation or whatever, but he still wanted to talk about something, so he asked me one day to guest co-host. This was like 2 or 3 years ago now. He asked me to guest co-host on an episode. And I believe the very first thing I reviewed, we talked John Wick 2. Yeah, that's it. That was it. We talked about John Wick 2. We both went to go see it together in theaters, and then we went to his house and we talked about it. And I was nervous. Like, you can find the Blurred Vision podcast on like iTunes, Google Play, or whatever. I don't have a Android. It's what is it? Google Play, whatever. I don't know. Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. My first episode was episode 25 or 26. And I was nervous as hell. But anyway, so eventually that trickled into being a regular, like that first episode led to another episode, led to another episode, led to another episode. So eventually he asked me to basically be a permanent guest co-host, because the people that he had on the show before couldn't commit to the more frequent schedule that he wanted to start doing, because he used to record like once a month, and he started to want to do once a week. And my schedule was more free to be able to commit to that. And so that's how my career basically started in terms of reviewing stuff. And I never even thought that this is something that I even wanted to do. And then eventually, after like 2 years, I started branching off into my own show while still doing Blurred Vision. But then coronavirus happened, and then we stopped recording for pretty much this entire year. But then last week, we finally came back to bring the show back. So hopefully we're going to start being consistent again. So that's the origin of the Blurred Vision podcast. So yeah, I definitely suggest you check that out. Hopefully we're going to review more episodes or more stuff. He hasn't hit me up. He hasn't hit me up to record this week, so I'm like, uh-oh. Are we about to take another hiatus? What was the listen to Jessica right there. Come on in and hit that like button. Granted, it's only 13 people in here, so but still 13 people. Let's get 13 likes in the stream. Going back to watch old episodes of classic shows was fun. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it because, like I said, there was stuff. Because I mean, it's always new stuff coming out. Surprisingly, even now in 2020. So that little lull that we had with nothing coming out, yeah, going back to watch old stuff was fun. And like even the video, was it this year that I did that video? I think it was this year. 8 horror movies to watch on Netflix. So it was cool to be able to like just go back and catch stuff that I missed. I said snuff, because I was about to say shit and stuff at the same time. Stuff. Your channel is one of my highlights of 2020. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been so fun watching and interacting with your videos. Well, it's been fun interacting with you too. I mean, even like you remember when Fantastic Frankie was on, she was like, yo, Dust Daughter, she need to follow me on Instagram. I like her. She got that research and drift. So yeah, I always look forward to seeing your comments in the comment section on videos. And I mean, a lot of y'all, because like I said, I mean, even the people that are in this chat, most of y'all, I recognize a lot of y'all, you guys' names. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate the love and support that this channel has gotten. And to take a quote from Buzz Lightyear, with this being the last year of 2020, hopefully I can take this channel and grow it and take it to infinity and beyond, plus ultra, to take a thing from My Hero Academia. If you guys are anime fans, if not, okay, let me say this. If you like animation, what I just noticed, like it just got real dark. All of this, like the lighting just changed. I'm like, what just happened? I didn't do anything, and my lights are still on. So I'm like, why did it get super dark all of a sudden? But what was I saying? Oh, anime. So if you guys aren't really that big, or you always been curious to check out anime and you're an animation fan, I definitely suggest, as a segue to probably get into anime or to see if you really would enjoy anime, is to check out the show My Hero Academia. I believe it's currently on Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu, but also if you have Crunchyroll. But if obviously, I'm just saying it. Obviously, you wouldn't have Crunchyroll if you're not into anime. But yeah, check out My Hero Academia on Crunchyroll. And if you don't like that, then you probably wouldn't like anime. But if you like that, we could definitely do some anime suggestions. I don't really talk about anime too much on this channel because I reviewed like 2 things. The Promised Neverland, which is another great anime. That's also on Netflix. And then I also reviewed the season 4 premiere of My Hero Academia, and nobody watched it. So I was like, okay, we're not going to talk anime on here. But I'm a big anime fan. So definitely, if you're curious of getting into anime, definitely check out My Hero Academia. Season 5, I believe, drops early next month. I'm still like, why did the light? I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I did. Like, it just got dark all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. I'm like, I don't know what happened, but whatever. It's a lot live video. Shit happens when you're live. Coming from a person, I just spat like all over the screen. Coming from a person that has his degree in theater, you just gotta roll with it. It's improv. But at least the stream is still going, so it's not that bad. Look, I'm a scaredy cat as well. Watch it. This is going to Dubious Space Hamster's comment. Look, I'm a scaredy cat as well. Watch early in the AM when the sun comes up. It gives you all day to forget about it, but for a few nights, you can sleep with the light on in the hall. So yeah, take that suggestion, Dubious Space Hamster. Yeah, like I said, watch it with the day. If you're scared of Lovecraft Country and horror and stuff like that, watch it with during the day. shades completely open, all the lights on, even keep the windows open if you need to. And I don't know if you're a religious person or not, but keep a Bible or whatever right next to your bed to help you make it through make it through horror movies. Horror movies is like, granted, hasn't been as good lately, but horror is like my favorite genre. Horror is what got me into superheroes and fantasy and all that other stuff. I've mentioned that before, but you know, what's like kind of like what Stan Lee said, where every comic book is somebody's first comic book. Just because I mentioned something before on a live, everybody's live could be somebody's first live. So maybe you haven't heard me say that before. What is this? Another comment from Jessica. Only 2 episodes were scary to me. Everything else was like, oh, okay. Aliens don't scare me. And speaking of aliens, they actually came out to bring some real world news into this. An Israeli like chief of like security or something like that came out and said, and the reason I bring, because I'm like, this is very sci-fi fantasy, but he basically came out and said that they said that Donald Trump was going to reveal, or I shouldn't say that name, he who shall not be named, to take from Harry Potter, the orange one. Basically, they said that he was going to come out and reveal to the world, because he found out as president that aliens are real, but the whole administration convinced him not to divulge that secret, which I'm like, I don't believe that shit. And then the Israeli minister came out and said that Earth has known for years that aliens exist, and aliens have communicated with governments of the world for years. And there's this whole like, and this is where he lost me, because I feel like the universe is way too big for there not to be aliens. But this is where he lost me. He was like, there's a whole different group and sect of aliens coming from different segments and different populations and different planets, and they all came together to form what's called the Galactic Federation. And I'm like, Galactic Federation? Really? That sounds like something from Star Trek. And I know Terracotta Kim is in here, and she's a big Star Trek fan, even though she wants me to watch Star Trek, and I've never really. It's not to say I don't like Star Trek. I've seen the Star Trek movie with Chris Pine. I'm just like, I was bored. I'm like, I'm more Star Wars, because Star Wars has space wizards, magic, blood, sex, gore, and magic. Those are the things I like in my fantasy. So you got Jedi and the Force and all that other stuff, as well as all the sci-fi stuff. You don't have that with Star Trek. Star Trek is all about world peace and all that other stuff. And I'm like, I need some magic and action and lightsaber battles, not peace and all that. But anyway, so he said that the aliens formed the Galactic Federation, and they came to Earth basically trying to include the Earth as part of the Galactic Federation and share knowledge and technology and all this other stuff. But they're saying that Earthlings aren't ready yet to find out, meaning us, regular civilians, aren't ready yet to find out that aliens actually exist. But he's like in his 80s or something like that. He's like, I have nothing left to lose. I'm pretty much, have more days or less days in front of me than I do behind me. So it's like, at this point, nothing's going to harm me to reveal this information. And so that he came out just like, yeah, aliens are real and they're part of the Galactic Federation. I'm just like, part of me, I'm like, I want it to be true, but at the same time, I'm like, Galactic Federation, like, really? 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 But anyway, what else? If the first ep is one of the harder horror ones, I'll try that one out during the day and see how I do. I have one friend who loves horror who will watch it with me with Discord chat. So yeah, give that a try. If you can make it through that first episode. And I feel like the first episode is more suspenseful than it is horror. But yeah, if you can make it through the first episode, I feel like you can make it through the rest of the show. Top 3 shows you look forward to that will premiere in 2021. Well, I would say number 1 on that list is WandaVision, which comes out next month, January 15th. I'm going to cross my fingers, knock on wood, do whatever I need to do, cross my eyes, cross my arms, cross my legs, which I can't do because of this chair, that I can get Disney Plus to give me an early screener for that. I won't be able to request it until after the new year, but hopefully I can get that. But that's like the number 1 thing that I'm looking forward to as part of the MCU on Disney Plus. Second thing I'm looking forward to is season 5 of My Hero Academia, which I just mentioned. I'm a big anime fan, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And why do I have problems with 3s? Same thing with like my top 3 favorite shows. What is another show that I'm looking forward to in 2021? Because I'm like trying to think of everything that was announced. Actually, another show that I'm looking forward to. Well, no, that's not coming out in 2021. That's coming out in 2022. Never mind. Scratch that. So fuck it. I'm gonna just say season 3 of The Mandalorian, because that season finale of The Mandalorian. I know you don't watch The Mandalorian, but for me, I was like, that season finale. I'm still thinking about that season finale. That season finale had me crying because it was so good. Like literally tears down my eyes, down my face, down my eyes, down my face, because it was so freaking good. And I watched it twice and I cried twice. But yeah, so those are the shows I'm looking forward to. Found you in December. Thank you for being here. Been here ever since. You're super dope. I appreciate you for subscribing. I appreciate you for rocking with this channel. I appreciate you for joining this live. Thank you so much. Can't grow this channel without people like you guys. So I appreciate all of you. The chat just jumped. I lost my spot. Oh, here we go. Lord, yeah, it got super dark here too. It started raining. We are in 2 different states. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is, because it's cloudy outside, and I think because the cloud covered up the sun, because I have my windows open to help, with the light, more lighting come in, because I usually have a floodlight when I record my YouTube videos that I turn on. See, I just noticed the light changed again, but I usually have a floodlight that I have to like make better lighting for my YouTube videos. But I noticed when I do like these type of videos like this, when I have it facing this way, especially with the dark wall behind me, it washes me out, and it doesn't look as good as opposed to like when I do my YouTube videos. Plus with this camera is like 720p as opposed to like me recording in 4K. That's why I don't have that light on. I use the natural sunlight. It's a little BTS stuff in terms of like lighting for YouTube. I became a fan when you started reviewing Lovecraft Country. Well, thank you so much for enjoying my reviews for Lovecraft Country and staying with my channel after Lovecraft Country was over, because there are a lot of people that left after it was over. I was like, I came for Lovecraft Country and now it's done. I'm going, which I mean, I kind of expected to happen because, it is what it is. But I appreciate you for rocking with. And yeah, Lovecraft Country was the thing that like pretty much blew my channel up. So thank you, Lovecraft Country, for coming out this year. I wouldn't be able to monetize my videos if it wasn't for that. At least I'm not going to say I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have gotten to this place as quickly as I did if it wasn't for Lovecraft Country. Because before Lovecraft Country, I mentioned this before, but again, everybody's live is somebody's first live. And for those of you that may want to jump on YouTube one day, I recommend, if you have a passion for something and you want to talk about something, jump on YouTube. There's like 8 billion people on the planet. You never know what audience you may find. And don't do it because you want to make money. I'm not doing it because I want to make money. I'm doing it because I love talking about nerd stuff. But the way YouTube works, and this is something that only like I believe it was like 2016, they changed the rules for. But in order to have ads on your YouTube videos, and that's how you monetize for YouTube. Once you're able to have ads on your video, depending on how many views that video gets, is how much you get paid. And plus, you know, people watching the ads or whatever, or watching a certain amount of the ads, like not like the ad plays. As soon as it plays, you skip it. You don't necessarily, like, I wouldn't get paid for that, but like maybe you watch 30 seconds of an ad, that counts as as a view or whatever. And you're able to monetize from that. But the way it works is, in order to start being able to monetize your videos on YouTube, and it applies retroactively. So if like once you get to the point where you're able to monetize, you can now add ads to all of your videos before you were able to monetize. But the way it works is you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which I had, but then either those 1,000 subscribers or just people that come across your channel that watch and don't subscribe, they have to have watched 4,000 hours worth of content. So A, you have to have 4,000 hours worth of content, and then B, people have to watch your stuff, and watch most of, if not the whole video, because YouTube really pays attention to watch time. They pay attention to watch time more than they pay attention to subscribers, because you can have 1 million subscribers, but if nobody's watching your channel, then YouTube doesn't care, because YouTube also makes money from people being on YouTube. And so if you're watching somebody's channel, YouTube is like, oh, this person must be interesting. Let's recommend this channel more so we can get more people on YouTube. So once you hit that 4,000 hours of watch time, that's when you're able to apply for what's called the YouTube Partnership Program. And then after that, once you apply, it takes like maybe like over a week or so for them to approve you, whatever. They check out your channel, make sure it's nothing like, you're not saying anything like flagrant, or like your 4,000 hours of content talking about murdering people or whatever. Then they approve you, and then you can start monetizing your videos. So Lovecraft Country is what got me to that point, pretty much. Like my watch time like skyrocketed after that. Most of that had to do with the fact that pretty much every video that I did for Lovecraft Country was like 20 minutes. And so I was getting like more views on that than I had subscribers. And so that added up to the 4,000 hours of watch time. So, yeah. So thank you. I say all that to say thank you. So I literally blubbered happily out of Mass Effect announced as a trilogy continuation. No regret. Is there anything that has been or could have been announced that you would do that? Actually, I'm excited in terms of I just started yelling. That's the show. I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. Well, yeah. Once they announced the Mass Effect trilogy, that they're redoing it and not even just continuing the saga, but they're remastering it for PlayStation 5, which I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, but I plan on getting a PlayStation 5 first. I need to get a 4K TV, which I plan on putting here, but which I'm eventually going to get at a certain point. I'm not in a rush to get that because, I mean, like I said, I don't have a job. But hopefully I'll mention that later. But yeah, but I'm excited to replay. And for those of you that don't know, Mass Effect is a video game. If you're not a gamer, it's in the vein of, it's like sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars type of, world. Terms of space, like the story and the storyline is very immersive. Like I would love for them to make Mass Effect into a movie, because I feel like it would work very well as a movie. Now, granted, the track record of video games becoming movies have been abysmal, because for the most part, almost every movie, every video game that they turned into a movie, the movie has been pretty subpar, if not downright trash. But hopefully they do Mass Effect and do it right. But anyway, so to answer your question, Dubious Space Hamster, like when they announced that they were going to remaster Mass Effect for PlayStation 5, that got me excited, because I didn't play Mass Effect 1, because Mass Effect 1 came out on Xbox, and I've always been a Sony person. I've always had a PlayStation for the most part. And so because of that, I never played Mass Effect 1 since it was only on PlayStation 1. But then Mass Effect 2 and 3 came out. They decided to put those on PlayStation, but they never put Mass Effect 1 on PlayStation. So I played 2 and 3. And while I still understood what was happening, I still wish I was able to play that first one. And so once it was announced that they're going to re-release all three games and put it on the new gen of consoles, I was like, great, I could finally play part one, and then also the fact that they're continuing the story. Like I saw that the trailer or whatever, and it looked like the character was Lyra. I know people that don't play this game, they're like, what the hell is he talking about? But when they show, I think it was Lyra. I think it's been so long since I played it, but the blue girl, I'm like, yes, I'm so excited for them to continue this world. I know the last Mass Effect game that they came out, I didn't play it. Andromeda, people hated it, and they got a negative reaction. So hopefully going forward, the game really looks, or the game continues the hype of the original Mass Effect trilogy. But to answer your question, is there anything that got me that hyped? Honestly, I would say like a lot of the Disney Plus investors meetings with all the shows that they're going to announce, like the Ahsoka Tano show from Star Wars, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the fact that Ironheart, from like a lot of the MCU shows and stuff, like that's the stuff that got me hyped. And also in terms of like video games, I'm just really excited to play Dragon Age Part 4. Like I feel like Dragon Age is like my favorite like video game world to play in. And I would also love to see that turned into like an animated movie. Like I really love Dragon Age and what you're able to do and the lore and stuff like that. So they released a trailer for that as well. So I'm really hyped to play Dragon Age 4. And then once that comes out, there will be a review for that. Look at the last season Attack on Titan came out. Episode 4 is up on Hulu. Yeah. Also, that's another show I would recommend if you are looking to perhaps get into anime. Definitely check out Attack on Titan. I feel like, and the reason I didn't mention Attack on Titan first and foremost, because I feel like Attack on Titan does get a little complicated. Where My Hero Academia is a little easier to follow, but Attack on Titan is very good. But like I said, I feel like My Hero Academia is a little bit more easier to digest. But check that out too. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Hopefully 2021 is way better than 2020. But funny enough, for all you Game of Thrones fans out there, I actually saw a meme and I was like, please God, don't let this be true. But I saw a meme that said this year, because it was such a terrible year, that 2020, this year was Joffrey Baratheon, and 2021 is going to be Ramsay Bolton. And I was like, oh, please, please don't do this to me. And if you're not a Game of Thrones fan, basically those are like the villains of the show. And Joffrey was a terrible, terrible, terrible king. And people, while watching the show, they was just like, it can't get worse than Joffrey. But then you got to the next season and then they introduced Ramsay and oh, it got worse. So that's my little brief summary of Game of Thrones if you're not a Game of Thrones fan. But I'm like, please, I hope that's not the case. Hopefully next year is rainbows and flowers. It's probably not going to be that good, but hopefully close enough. Let me drink some water real quick. So yeah, hopefully you guys' new year goes better. 2020, not even just New Year's Day, but 2021 period. Hopefully it all goes good for everybody. That includes myself. You said his name. Go, hey, yeah, I did. That's why I had to say, like, I take it back. He who shall not be named. The chat jumped again. I just lost my spot. Where'd it go? Okay, there we go. I definitely believe it, because literally look at how many creatures are on this one planet, not counting the undiscovered ones. Yeah, that's true. And something that a lot of people don't realize in terms of like science and stuff like that, we know more about space. Going back, this is going back to the aliens conversation. We know more about deep space than we do about our ocean. So for all we know, Ariel and King Trident and all those stuff, they're real. They're just living in Atlantis, Atlantica, or whatever. They're just living in the deep ocean, and we can't. Our tech, despite the great technology that we had, the fact that we're able to go into space, we're unable to explore our deep oceans. And also, part of that is not even just the fact of the pressure of going deep, and we don't have instruments and stuff that can withstand such immense pressure of going that deep. But then also, like, the deeper you go into the ocean, it becomes pitch black. So there's like absolutely no light. At least if you go to the moon or Mars, there's still some sunlight. You can still see, as opposed to just absolute darkness. And that would be and that's why it's like a lot of horror movies will focus on. Like, there was a movie called Underwater that came out. I think it came out this year. Like, this year was so long ago. Like, it came out in January. January was just so long. It feels like another year. Granted, the movie was only okay. I reviewed it. It was okay. But just the premise of like creatures being underwater because it's so unexplored. But yeah, I feel like that has to be aliens, right? Like, even when you study the pyramids, I'm like, nah. The ancient Egyptians, we had some, to take a Marvel reference, we had some ancient celestials helping us create those pyramids, because like they completely align with like the longitude and latitude of certain parts of Earth and all other stuff. And I'm like, there's no way we could have known that without some type of scientific help. And then like when they talk about the Egyptian gods and stuff like that and living amongst the Egyptians, I'm like, yeah, those are aliens. Please watch Star Trek Next Generation. I won't say I will, but maybe I'll watch Discovery. Maybe. I'm gonna try to see if I get a free trial, because I have been curious to watch that, mostly because Sonequa Martin Green is the lead, and I'm rooting for everybody black, and she's like, I believe like the first black woman to be like the lead in like a Star Trek franchise. Granted, you have Uhura, who was a lead, but she wasn't like the lead. It was mostly Captain Kirk and Spock, and Uhura was like the co-lead, but she wasn't like running the show. But if I can get like a free subscription, maybe I'll check out Discovery. I mean, beings outside this world absolutely exist, but it's like, why would aliens want to invade this place? This place sucks. This place definitely sucks, but I'm hoping they're not coming to invade us, because if they do, especially considering, obviously, if aliens make it here, considering like the way physics works, and we haven't figured out a way to like travel to, with light speed and stuff like that to get to other, far planets and stuff like that. So obviously, if they're able to get here, that shows that their technology vastly is superior to ours. So we would stand absolutely no chance. It won't be like Independence Day where we ended up winning at the end of the day. No, we are dead. So I'm like, hopefully if they do come, they're not here to invade us. They're benevolent and not malevolent. But then at the same time, with the way humanity works, because humans are selfish as hell. Humans are vile, vicious creatures, especially our fucking government run by white people. I'm like, even if the aliens come here and they're benevolent and they just come here to like, exchange knowledge and trade with us and all this other stuff, I'm like, humans are going to find some way to fuck it up and maybe try to capture one of them, experiment on one of them, maybe steal their technology, lie, cheat, rape, all that other stuff. And I probably shouldn't say the R word because I don't want this live to get demonetized. But I feel like aliens will start out as benevolent, but then because of human effery, they'll end up wanting to kill us. I mean, just look at how we treat, look at how humans, again, white people, but how humans treated like black people or Native American people or Asian people and yada, 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 how we treat each other with murdering people and abusing people, domestic abuse and all other stuff. So I'm like, hopefully if aliens exist, they just take me. I'm good. Like, give me technology, give me superpowers and let me avoid climate change and all the other stuff. The movies kind of suck. You'll get what you want from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'll watch it with you, bro. Again, like I said, I'll maybe check out Discovery. Star Trek: The Next Generation, isn't that like seasons and seasons and seasons? I don't know if I could do all that. Hey man, I love anime too. I'm glad I got another anime fan in here, and it's not just me and Jessica. But I actually need to go, besides Attack on Titan, there's a couple anime that I need to catch up on. Like this one that just came out called Juju something Kaisen. I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. I need to watch that. And there's also a couple. I need to catch up on Food Wars, which is something I really enjoy. But yeah, there's a couple anime that I need to catch up on. Look, I was waiting for season 2 of Handmaid's Tale. I haven't watched Handmaid's Tale. I know a lot of people love it. A lot of people rave about it. It's just another thing that's on my list. Like it's too many shows. Like there's just so much. It's just like so much stuff to watch and consume, and then not even just that, but then read also. But hold on, let me finish reading this comment. I was waiting for season 2 of The Handmaid's Tale, and then they snubbed me. Absolutely looking forward to season 5 of My Hero Academia, season 5 of Insecure. I'm behind on Insecure too. Funny enough, I've only seen up to season 2. I think they're on season 5. So I need to watch season 3 and season 4 of Insecure. It's too many shows. Season 5 of Insecure and season 5 of Seven Deadly Sins. That's another anime I need to finish. 7 Deadly Sins. I'm like, I mean, that's the one good thing. I don't want to like say being unemployed is good, but that's the one good thing about getting laid off from my job in October is I've been able to have more time consuming things, then also focusing on growing this channel. Like I've been able to like put out, granted, I've been consistent even before that. Like for the most part, I've been putting out videos like once a week, but like I've been able to put out videos like once a day or even do live videos. Like if I still have my job, I would never be able to do these live videos because I worked overnight. And right now I would be sleeping, getting ready to go work tonight. Or if I had an off day, I would be so freaking tired from working overnight. I would still be sleeping. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night and just be up all night. And so that I could say, you know, looking for a silver lining, because, you know, that's something I need to get better with in terms of like not being so negative. I have a tendency to only focus on the negative. And I was telling my best friend who's in the chat, who's also a moderator in the chat. So if you say some fucked up shit, she's gonna, and I don't notice it, she's gonna ban you. Jessica, that's what that wrench means. When you see her comment, I mean, she's a moderator in the chat. But I was telling her, I think it was yesterday. I was like, I need to get better with like not being and only seeing the negative. Like even with regards to this year, like this year was a terrible year. A lot of people died this year. A lot of people got sick. I know a lot of my friends, not a lot of my friends, but I have a couple of my friends that ended up catching coronavirus. Thankfully, they've recovered, but just the fact that they caught it, like I don't wish that on anybody. Well, I don't want to say anybody because there's a couple people that I'm like, could we trade them for other people? Like, and one of them I will mention, could we get rid of Mitch McConnell, please? Like somebody, like in terms of aliens, can aliens take him and like throw him into the sun, please? Like I want him gone. And the fact that people reelected him, that's the last politics thing I'm going to mention. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. But yes, instead of focusing on that, like, you know, the negative, you know, people getting coronavirus, people getting laid off from their jobs, like me being one of them, people, you know, losing their health care. Again, me, since I lost my job, you know, the impact of like movie theaters, again, people losing their jobs because movie theaters are closed and stuff like that. Like I'm like, it's easy to just focus on that, but I'm like, you know what? Let me try to focus on the good stuff that happened this year. And and hopefully you guys, and I challenge you guys to probably do the same thing. Like, hopefully there's been some good, like, despite the negative in this year, hopefully there's been some good that happened this year. And try your best to focus on that. And that's what I'm going to try to do from this point on. Like, and I'll give you an example, like, of something good to have. I mentioned, like, you know, being able to grow this channel, monetize this channel, and all this other stuff. Like, I choose to try to focus on that. You know, I got laid off from my job, but now I can focus more on my channel and hopefully continue to grow my channel to the point that, you know, maybe I won't need maybe I won't need a job, a job, and I can have a career, which this, hopefully I can focus on this being my career and building it in 2020 and beyond. I was actually thought about at a certain point starting a Patreon, but I have to like really like sit down and figure out what I would do for a Patreon. Now, granted, again, there's only like 12 people in here, but I'm actually throw that comment to you guys, you know, as fans of my channel, as people that are watching my channel. If I were to start a Patreon, what is it? Because I'm like, I'm not Disney Plus, I'm not Netflix, I don't have like oodles and oodles of content that people could binge. But if I were to start a Patreon, what is something that would interest you enough to get you to like support it to the point that obviously you have to pay for it, because that's what a Patreon is. You're supporting a channel, you're paying for certain content. So like, I'll use an example of somebody else that has a Patreon that's a way bigger YouTuber than I am, but like who also reviews movies and stuff like that. But like John Campia, like if you pay like $10 a month, you get access to like a chat that you get to directly communicate with him. You get to maybe like do like a live one-on-one Skype or whatever and talk one-on-one at a certain level, you know, whatever. Or maybe you get to pick the topics of the channel or whatever, you know. So I've been thinking about that. And then also another thing that I've been thinking about lately is, I mentioned this before, but because in terms of this year, with like when it comes to like reading stuff, I really haven't really read anything. I haven't read anything at all like this year. And it's trash because I bought a lot of books, a lot of comics, and I just haven't touched any of it. So like lately, like these last like 2 months or so, I've been like really thinking of like, and my Jessica was saying like, I don't need to do this, but I've been thinking about starting another channel, obviously still keeping this channel alive, but starting another channel where I focus only on books, specifically books by Black authors. But if every so often you have a book that has Black characters, but it's not by a Black author, like Lovecraft Country, for an example, that was written by a white man, but the whole cast of characters are Black people. So that's I would be willing to talk about that. Or every so often, like, you know, classic authors, like maybe a Stephen King or something like that. But the main focus will be Black books by Black authors, because I've been buying a whole bunch of books that's on my book. I'm looking at them on my bookshelf that I just haven't touched. And I'm like, maybe if I started another channel to review book, like become a booktuber as well, because that's something that I love, you know, a fantasy world. Maybe if I force myself to like review books, that'll force me to actually read them as opposed to them just sitting on the shelf. Because I plan on reading them eventually, but like I don't want to have it be like Harry Potter, where I bought the Harry Potter books with the intention of reading them, and they sat on my shelf for like a good 7 years before I actually, you know, cracked it open. Now, granted, I didn't actually read the book. I listened to the audiobooks while I was working. Like while I was working, I had my headphones in. I'm cleaning the kitchen and stuff like that. And I'm listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks. And I know there's like some people are like book snobs, where it's like, well, if you listen to the audiobook, you didn't really read it, so you know. But it's the same. It's the same. It's all essentially the same thing because it's literally the same words. You're just having somebody, you know, read it to you, and then it's still stimulating certain parts of your brain. I'm not a snob. If you listen to the audiobook, you read the book, basically. But so that was another. So I say all that to say that's another thing I was thinking about, like doing that, like adding that as a part of my channel, but maybe making that as a paid part. But then I don't know. I don't know if the demand for that would be as big. So like I said, I'm throwing that question out to you guys, as opposed to maybe just starting a whole separate channel entirely, because I feel like that might be too much if this one channel is reviewing books, movies, video games, and every so often I'll talk about comic books. I feel like that's too, because you know a lot of people always talk about, you know, if you want to make it on YouTube, you have to focus your channel. You can't talk about everything because then people are like, don't know what to like, and then that hurts you with the algorithm, because maybe one thing is super popular, but then you're reviewing other things and it's not as popular. Like people, like for example, like talking about the books, maybe people are coming to your channel to talk about when you're talking about movies, but then if you're also talking about books and that's not as popular, but you're still talking about it for those little bit of people that might be interested, that eventually hurts your channel, because with the algorithm and stuff like that. So I don't want to, that's why I was like, maybe I should start a whole new channel strictly talking about books. But if I do that or whatever, it's just an idea that I'm throwing into my head. Would that be something that you guys are interested in? But yeah, that's me. That's enough of me rambling and talking. I said you guys are leading this chat and I did all the talking. But yeah, so let me get back to these comments. I lost my spot. Let me scroll up. Handmaid's Tale. Okay, here we go. If you haven't watched it yet, there's a Japanese live action. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That's Alice in the Borderland is actually going to be the next thing that I review, or probably the first thing that I review in 2021. I've only seen the first episode, so I'm still making my way through it, but yeah, I mean, I don't got shit else to do. So more than likely, after this live is over, I'll probably make my way through the rest of the show and watch Alice in the Borderland and then get that review out. But yeah, guys, check out if you're a fan of like Korean dramas and all that other stuff, or just good properties, period. Just know that it is a Korean drama. So because of that, there are subtitles, but so far, based on that first episode, it's pretty good. And Korea has been killing it with these like properties, because there's another movie that came out, another Korean drama. It's called The Call. I reviewed that. It was pretty good. There's another Korean movie, zombie movie that came out in the vein of Train to Busan. If you haven't seen Train to Busan, definitely recommend checking that out. I believe it's on Netflix, but it's another zombie type property called #Alive. I also reviewed that. I'm gonna have to add these cards in later when I actually upload this video for the replay to, you know, I review that and have it play, you know, show up on the top. But Alice on the Borderland is another one that is something I would recommend for you guys to check out, because like I said, based on the first episode, seems pretty damn good. And then we could talk about it once I get my review up. And then there's another what's the name of it? Another Korean like horror type show that just dropped on Netflix. Like Sweet. It's like Sweet something, or it starts with an S. Let me see if I can find it on my recommended. Sweet Home. There we go. It's pop right up. Sweet Home. I don't know what it's about, but I've heard a lot of people saying good things about it. Actually, let me just open it real quick and read the synopsis. Here we go. As humans turn into savage monsters and wreak terror, one troubled teen and his apartment neighbors fight to survive and to hold on to their humanity. It doesn't say much, but I've heard a lot of people talking good things about Sweet Home. So yeah, those will be the next two things I review. Sweet Home and Alice in the Borderland. But also I did review Cobra Kai season 3. If you guys are fans of Karate Kid, maybe not even super fans, but you like Karate Kid or whatever, you watch Karate Kid, definitely check out Cobra Kai if you haven't seen seasons 1, because season 3 comes out tomorrow. If you haven't seen seasons 1 and 2, definitely check that out. I definitely recommend checking out Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai actually made me, because I mean, I liked Karate Kid, but it wasn't like, oh, Karate Kid, like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. It was just like, oh, Karate Kid, it was a good movie. It was something to watch. Daniel-san! But Cobra Kai really made me like the whole Karate Kid franchise and all that other stuff more. And I really like what they've done, like the general premise with like season 1, 2, and then I got a screener. Thank you, Netflix. Got an early screener for Cobra Kai season 3, and it actually drops tomorrow. So that's another thing I recommend for you guys to check out. Check out Cobra Kai. And if you're already caught up, be on the lookout for season 3 that drops tomorrow. And if you haven't seen my review for Cobra Kai, once this live is over, check out my review for season 3 of Cobra Kai. Non-spoiler. Lost my spot. Oh, here we go. I'm waiting to see Wonder Woman before I check out the review. Okay. This is something I have to bring up now that you talked about it. The internet hates Wonder Woman 1984. like to the point that I believe I read an article that said on IMDb it's the lowest rated of all the DCEU movies. However, me personally, I did not hate. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say what my review is because then that'd disincentivize you to watch it. But I'm like, I got to bring it up. Like, I didn't hate Wonder Woman 1984. Now, granted, there are a lot of flaws in that movie. There are a lot of flaws in that movie. And a lot of the criticisms that people have with Wonder Woman 1984, I completely agree with them. But at the same time, part of me is like, the DCEU movies have not been that good. Like Batman v Superman, Justice League, all that stuff. Like, so this is not the worst DC movie ever. Like, this movie is not worse than Justice League. This movie is not worse than Batman v Superman. And granted, I think I made this analogy in one of my reviews last year. I don't remember what I think it was for Hobbs and Shaw, actually, funny enough, where I was just like, for the most part, Hobbs and Shaw was basically like eating a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like, it was enjoyable for the moment, but at the end of the day, you're getting no nutritional value from eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And that's kind of how I felt about Wonder Woman. Like, while watching it, it was an enjoyable movie for the moment, but at the end of the day, in terms of like great movies or movies that you're gonna get like, best movie of the year, or like how I felt about like Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame, or even my favorite horror movie of 2019, Ready or Not, or John Wick, or anything like that. It's nothing on the level of that. But for the little 2.5 hours that I watched it, I was like, it was something to watch. It was decent enough. Like, and plus, it was a movie that I watched on HBO Max. It was something I didn't have to go to the theaters for. It was something I didn't have to pay for. So I'm like, for a movie I didn't have to pay for, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. Now, granted, that's not to say I loved it, but the whole internet is like, oh, it's the worst movie ever. The movie was trash. And I'm like, I don't think the movie was trash. I think it was very flawed. I think it was ultimately okay and something to watch in the moment. So, yeah. Because I got a lot of people like hitting me up watching my, like, I can't believe you. Like, funny enough, one of my friends actually called me after watching my review. She FaceTimed me. She was like, Michael, I can't believe you actually liked this movie. This movie was trash. I was like, what do you want me to say? Like, and that's the beautiful thing about art and entertainment, and why I love talking about art and entertainment, because it's all subjective. Like, my opinion isn't right. My opinion isn't wrong. It's just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and that's beautiful too. And then the real beautiful thing about it is we can have the discussion. whether you agree with me or not. But the problem when it comes to that, and when it comes to like people being toxic and certain comments I've gotten in my comment section, is like they think just because I have my one opinion, people want to come in and be like, oh, you're stupid, you're like you're ridiculous, you're the worst person ever. I can't believe you like this movie. You're whatever. It's like, if you don't like my opinion, you could easily just click off the video. Like go to somebody else's channel, bro. Swipe. I was about to say swipe left. This isn't Tinder, but just click off. Bye. Just know you don't like my opinion. Moving on. Like there are plenty of YouTubers videos that I watch and I don't agree with their opinion on certain things or whatever. And moving on, whatever. It's all subjective. There's no fact when it comes to like evaluating your opinion in a movie or whatever. Like, perfect example, my friend is not, like, I have friends that are not into Avengers. They watched Avengers, the first Avengers, and they were bored. They fell asleep in the theater. And I'm just like, what? Or I have friends that aren't into superheroes and comic book movies and all that other stuff. But clearly, Black Gay Comic Geek, that's all I'm into. That's the general premise of my channel, to review fantasy properties. I have friends that aren't into fantasy. That doesn't make them wrong. Granted, it does. They're wrong. But but I'm not like bashing them because they're just not into it. Okay, that's fine. But and funny enough, that's actually why I started cosplaying in the first place, because a lot of my friends weren't into the things that I was into as much as I'm into them. Like I have some that maybe they'll watch the Avengers movie and they'll like it, sure, maybe, whatever. But they're not like huge, like they won't go see it opening weekend, and they're not like huge fan. They're just like, oh, I checked it out, whatever. It was a decent movie or whatever, but they're not like geeking out as much as I am about it. So I'm like, I need other people to geek out about like these superhero stuff. So that's the main reason I started cosplaying, to find other nerds like me to geek out about these fantasy superhero, sci-fi properties that I love. And then cosplaying ended up turning into joining the Blur Vision podcast, and then joining the Blur Vision podcast ended up turning into starting my own YouTube channel. Hopefully starting my own YouTube channel turns into this being a career. And also I stopped fucking procrastinating and actually like really, really sit down. And because I've been wanting to write a fantasy novel for like the longest time, but I don't know. I feel like I'm better with coming up with the ideas than like sitting down and crafting a compelling world with compelling prose and building chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. And like making that like something that people like a page turner or something like that. And then also, again, this is me trying not to be negative. I'm like, I'm doing it already. Part of me is like, but it's not even being negative. Because I have a big fear, because when it comes to like writing is all you. It's like it's all coming from your brain. You're the one that's penning the narrative and all that other stuff. And part of me is like, I have such self-doubt and insecurity about that. Where I'm just like, because it's one thing if you criticize my YouTube channel or whatever, like my opinion on a show, that's still based on another person's work. But like, if somebody were to come out and be like, I don't like your book, so that's another reason why I'm like kind of scared to like write a book, because I'm like, I don't want to see any negative reviews. Or I'm just like, what if nobody likes it? What if it doesn't sell? But I know it's like, I don't know. I got to get that out my head. I got to get that negativity out my head. But like, that's just because going back to like, even why I call myself Black Gay Comic Geek or anything, I call for diversity and representation in a lot of stuff that I read and watch and all that other stuff. I always say, like, even when it came to cosplay, I was like, dang, I wish there was like a black gay superhero that I could dress up as in the Marvel and DC universe. There's really none. Like, most of the gay characters in comics are white. And granted, I'm of the sole believer that anybody can cosplay as anything, regardless of your race or whatever. Like, I dressed up as Avatar Aang in at New York Comic Con, and I'm not Asian, but I still did it. I dressed up as who was another character I dressed up as that's not black? Mystique. I dressed up as Mystique. Granted, she's blue, and I painted myself blue, but yeah, like I believe I'm a firm believer that you can cosplay as anything. But at the same time, I still was just like, I would love to cosplay as a black gay superhero, and there really aren't any. And for the most part, ever since I was in college, I've had just the general premise of an idea of just wanting to create a fantasy story where the lead is black and gay. Not even necessarily a superhero like, you know, Spider-Man, Superman, or anything in that vein. I'm thinking, but still somebody with powers. But I'm more of a fan of supernatural stuff, like dark supernatural stuff, than I am of like superhero stuff. That's not to say I don't like superheroes, but like Supernatural, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Angel, Constantine type of world. So that would be the world that my novel would kind of live in, like a dark. So yeah, he would have powers, but he wouldn't be like a superhero in that sense. So that's the general premise of like the starting point of like the ideas that I've been having ever since I was in college. But then and I actually wrote one chapter of my book. I actually wrote one chapter and it's still on my laptop. But then I started chapter 2 and then I got writer's block. I was in the middle of a sentence. I was like, wait. And that was like 4 years ago. And 4 years later, but I forgot where I was even going with that statement. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Moving on. I lost my train of thought. Like writer's block. I lost my YouTube block, whatever. But oh yeah, was I talking about Wonder Woman? No, I wasn't. I was done with Wonder Woman. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, moving on with the comments because I lost my train of thought. Maybe it'll come back to me. Thumbs up this live, guys. It really helps. Yes, it does. Going back to the YouTube, the way YouTube and stuff works. The way YouTube works is the more aligned your like to view ratio is, the more YouTube is willing to recommend that specific channel. Like I said, granted, there's only 19 people in here, but if we can get 19 likes on this video, that'd be great. Oh wait, we got more than. I just looked at it. I got 23 likes on here, so I guess that's good enough then. So, anybody else comes in here like the video? I don't know. I guess, but what else? Yeah, let's hope 2021 isn't 2020 2.0. I hope it's not 2020 2.0 or worse. So, yeah, I don't know if you were in here when I made the reference, but hopefully it's not the Ramsey Bolton to 2020 being Joffrey Baratheon. For anyone that wants to try a semi-old anime ended in 2020, try Death Note. Oldie but a goodie. Not lying. I agree with that. Listen to what she said. Death Note is also hot fire. Hot fire. And like, funny enough, like I've always watched anime even when I was younger, but for the most part, my knowledge of anime just really went to Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. That was it. Never watched anything else. And so I mentioned this before, like I was a member, I used to be part of or I'm still part of the Blurred Vision podcast, and they added a segment. Again, you can find Blurred Vision podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. But they added a segment to the show called where they would review anime of the week. And that was part of the show where I would just sit out because I wasn't watching anime. I didn't watch anime. They would talk about My Hero Academia and all this other stuff, and I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And funny enough, like I started to feel left out. And so, and this is part of the reason why I recommend My Hero Academia as your jumping off point to anime. Like I watched My Hero Academia and I got hooked. And then My Hero Academia created a snowball effect of me going to watching a whole bunch of different anime. Like I started watching Attack on Titan. I started watching Death Note. I started watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And then I just started watching a whole bunch of other stuff outside of Dragon Ball Z. And then funny enough, it ended up marring my opinion of Dragon Ball Z, or now Dragon Ball Super, where I was just like, as much as I loved Dragon Ball, like I was super excited once they announced a new Dragon Ball series was coming out. But then after I started watching other anime and comparing it, I was like, this isn't that good. So I was like, why is my sister texting me right now? Go away. Hold up. But yeah, so that created a snowball effect of me like really jumping into that deep end of the anime pool. So that's part of the reason why, like I said, I recommend My Hero Academia first, because that's where it started for me. So, but yeah, definitely check out Death Note. Definitely check out Attack on Titan, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There's a bunch of other stuff that I could recommend, but again, I don't know how many people are in here are really interested or even give a flying rat pussy about anime. Discovery will disappoint you. I couldn't watch it. I mean, maybe, I don't know. To each their own. Again, everything's subjective, because like I said, there are a lot of people that I know that really like Star Trek Discovery. So I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I got my first super chat. Thank you, Dr. Day. I was about to say Dr. Dre. I was like, wait, Dr. Dre's in here? Hold up. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. What are your thoughts on the Black Comics, Black Sands, the Seven Kingdom? I haven't actually seen anything. I know who they are, and I know, like, I follow them on Instagram and stuff like that, but I haven't actually seen like their property. But it's definitely on my list of things to check out, because, you know, I'm rooting for everybody Black, and I'm not sure when you jumped into the live stream, but I mentioned that this year I've been buying a lot of like Black comics. You know, like I've supported a lot of Kickstarters from indie comic creators, and I'm waiting for them to arrive. Some of them have arrived already, and I do plan on diving into that eventually. But that's another one that I'm definitely looking to, you know, check out. I've been aware, and they've been on my radar for the longest time. It's just so much content that I just need to eventually, you know, jump into. But it looks like it's pretty good, and I'm actually excited. Like, for once, like, finally we're getting a property with like Black people in ancient Egypt, and it's Black people. It's not like you know, like the Gods of Egypt movie, where you got a movie called The Gods of Egypt, and pretty much everybody but Chadwick Boseman is white. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Or even like something which I love it, Prince of Egypt, where they actually drew them as brown skin, but all the voice actors and the soundtrack, like I love the soundtrack for Prince of Egypt and all the other stuff. But then you look at all the voice actors for Prince of Egypt, everybody in that voice cast is white, despite them being brown skin in the movie. So yeah, Black Sands, I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out. I haven't checked it out, but I've heard, you know, some good things in it. So, or good things with it. So yeah, and there's a lot of Black indie comic creators that are really doing their thing, and I'm surprised. I'm proud, and I'm happy to support as many as I can. I actually just I think today. No, I was just gonna recommend you guys check out the Kickstarter, but I think today's the last day, or yesterday was the last day, so the Kickstarter is done. But there's this Kickstarter going. There was this Kickstarter going on by this comic book series called Godhood Comics, and they're trying to do this comic book called The Antagonists, and it's basically group of like Black supervillains, and the world sees them as supervillains or whatever, but they're not really. There's more there's more to the story. But just seeing a Black family in a comic book series with powers, it's very rare to see something like that. And then just like the premise that he came up with, obviously they could explain it better than I can, but if you are on Instagram, I would say check that out. Because like I said, the Kickstarter is done, but once the book actually comes out, it's something that you should definitely check out. But check out their Instagram page, Godhood Comics, to learn more information about that. They also have another comic book series called Keisha Carter, Mega Woman, about a Black female superhero who's the daughter of Zeus. So yeah, there's a lot of indie comic creators that are doing their thing, and I've supported a good amount of them. And my wallet is not happy, especially since I'm only collecting unemployment. But I'm rooting for everybody Black. So yeah, let me go back. What I do? Deep Space Nine. Avery Brooks was the lead of that show. Okay, maybe I'll check out Deep Space Nine. But then I don't know. I'm like, I still just not. When I think of Star Trek, I'm just like, I need some magic and space wizards and fights and wars. Not like, oh, we're going to a planet to make peace. That's what I think of when I think of Star Trek. I'm just like, like it just sounds. Granted, I'm speaking of a place of ignorance, so I don't know. You don't know till you know. I'm like, it just doesn't sound. Just the premise of Star Trek doesn't sound all that compelling to me. But. And like I said, and I did say, like, I watched the first movie with Chris Pine. And granted, I know y'all are saying it's like it's not like that first movie. Oh, there we go. I don't know what just happened. My mic just muted for some reason. I don't know what just happened. I was like, wait, what's going on? What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying because I had a glitch with my mic suddenly muting or whatever for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't remember. So yeah, moving on. Humans in power are despicable creatures. The normal people are good. Humans in power are despicable creatures. But yes, but remember, those humans in power were once people that didn't have power. So, I mean, all humans can potentially be trash. So, yeah. Handmaid's Tale is white woman feminism, the movie. So, yeah, I guess maybe I shouldn't check that out then, because white feminism is not the feminism I'm into. White feminism is something that I rail against. Hashtag fuck white feminism. But maybe I should watch it for that reason alone. Give me something to scream at. Yeah, it probably won't be something I review, but but Jessica's agreeing with that. Yeah. Oh, okay, you back. I just jumped off for a second. I didn't hear you anymore. My shop. Yeah, because I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my mic just muted, and then I got an alert, a pop-up on my screen that just said, your mic disconnected from your live. I was like, I didn't touch anything. What's going on? Nice mug. Thank you. It's front of it, Storm from X-Men. You can see the glare. You can't really see from the glare, but yeah, there you go, right there. And what do you say? Jeff Goldblum and Danny Glover were the only voice actors of color. LOL. Jeff Goldblum is white, as far as I can. I'm granted, maybe he's half. Jeff Goldblum's a white man. I don't care what nobody says. But Danny Glover, okay, so you got one. It's still, so that's still the Gods of Egypt movie to me, where you got the one black person like Chadwick Boseman being the one black man in a Gods of Egypt movie. What the fuck? Oh, I got another $5 super chat from Stephen M. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining me in this live video, and I appreciate you for liking my content. So where was I? Lost my spot. Let me scroll back up. Oh, are you talking about paid trying to OnlyFans? Because you might have two audiences. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about an OnlyFans account. When I mentioned my Patreon, I'm talking about Patreon is something completely different than OnlyFans. Granted, there are people that do OnlyFans that have nothing to do with the sexual nature, but most people that are well, I don't want to say most, but a lot of people that are doing OnlyFans are doing it like they're sex workers, and that's not what I'm talking about. So if that, I appreciate you for being interested in that, but no, that's not what you came to the wrong place. What I'm talking about in terms of like thinking about creating a Patreon is just more exclusive content, which literally just sounds like sex work. But in terms of like reviews that nobody else has access to, or maybe if you pay whatever for the Patreon, you're a subscriber to my Patreon account, maybe like once a month we could talk like on a one-on-one Skype or whatever. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking shit off the top of my head, but maybe you could join me on a review for like a live YouTube on my channel, and you could join me live for a review for something. Or, you know, you get a lot of people keep telling me I need to join Discord. I don't even know what the hell Discord is. I think it's like a private server or something like that, but maybe you get like special perks on Discord or whatever. I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. Or maybe you could, as a Patreon member, you could recommend what I review on the channel for my next video or whatever. Those are just ideas that I'm throwing out there. But like I said, I'm throwing that to you guys. If you would be interested in something like that, and then what would you be interested in, since you would be the audience that would be, you know, paying. But yeah, no OnlyFans, no. But I appreciate you for the interest. Some people do exclusive podcasts on Patreon, exclusive videos. Yes, yeah, that's what I was thinking, like exclusive thing. But I'm like, exclusive what though? That's what I need to figure out. Getting reviews early, details on your figurines. I mean, I did a whole video actually, which is up on my channel, where I did I walked through all of my comic book action figures and stuff like that. You can see this shelf. So if you, but yeah, I'm not going to go fully into it right now, but like, this is my X-Men shelf or whatever. I have DC characters. Let me move this, but like, I have like, this is my Wakanda shelf. It's all like Black Panther characters and stuff like that. The light apparently just died. But yeah, the light just died. But yeah, so I did a video like walking through all of my figures. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. Audiobooks saved my reading this year. And funny enough, like, this is why I'm trapped, because I'm like, I need to like do better. Because once upon a time, I was reading 4 books a year. I mean, 4 books a year. Like, that's something to be proud of. I was reading 4 books a month. But then now I just haven't read anything. And it's sad because I have one of my friends worked. She has a unlimited subscription at Audible. And so she probably shouldn't say, but like she gave me her password. And so and because she worked at Audible, she has unlimited access and free downloads for audiobooks. So if the audiobook exists, she can listen to, and I can listen to it for free because I have her password. But even with audiobooks, like I haven't listened to anything, I haven't read anything, but I bought a whole bunch of books that are just sitting on my shelf. So that's why I was like, maybe I should start like reviewing books, and maybe that'll force me to actually, to actually read them and not just have them sitting on my shelf for like 6 to 7 years, like the Harry Potter book movie or like the Harry Potter books, before I actually get into it. But like I started Octavia Butler's Kindred. I even listened to the audiobook, got past the first chapter, not because I was bored or anything like that, but I put it down to like watch or do other stuff. And then I just haven't touched it since. And I'm like, all right, I'm trash. I need to really, really like hunker down. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, I don't have a job. So it's like, read some fucking books. I need to get better at that. So I don't know. But would you guys be interested in that? Yes, a book channel would rock. Maybe. Save my backlog. Same. My backlog of books are crazy. Yeah, mine too. Even the books that outside of the books that I bought, even other books that I just have on my shelf, like I bought Stephen King's like down here. I don't know if you can see. Let me move over. Like Stephen King's Dark Tower series that I have down here. And I'm like, I need to get through those. There's a whole bunch of other books that I just have that I just need. I'm like, all right, I need to get through those. And LGBTQ authors, of course, definitely like, of course I will focus on LGBTQ authors, but, and not to say but I just did, but the thing, like my focus is like obviously Black fantasy. So, or fantasy. So if there's no LGBTQ, granted, I have to look and figure it out. But if it's like an LGBTQ book that's not like fantasy, I'm not going to read it just because it's LGBTQ. It has to be fantasy. Now, granted, that's not to say there isn't, because there's this right here, A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney. This is definitely something I plan on checking out. And basically, the premise of it is, what if Buffy, instead of Alice, fell into Wonderland and she was taking out, demons and stuff like that, in Wonderland. And then Buffy was also Black and she was also bisexual. So you got a main character that's bisexual. She's Black and she's fighting monsters and stuff like that. So I was like, as soon as I heard that premise, I was like, sign me the fuck up. And I bought it, and then it's been sitting on my shelf. So yes, I definitely LGBTQ authors. Like there's another book that I have too. That's an indie book that's self-published by an LGBTQ author. Let me get rid of this so you can see it, the glare. Called by Shade O. Walker, called One Warlock's Love Story. And basically the main character, Xander, he's a warlock, and he's gay. Main character, he's gay and Black. So up my alley. I read the first book, but I haven't read the other books. But again, like, it's a theme with me. Buying books and then don't read it. It's the same thing. Hold up. It's the same problem I have with Blu-rays. Like, I'll watch, as a movie that I wanted to see, I'll buy the Blu-ray. Like, I have a shit ton of, I have a shit ton of like Blu-rays on my shelf over there. And there's a lot of them that I just haven't watched yet that I plan on eventually. I do plan on eventually watching. I have a problem, guys. So yeah, it's like a running theme with me. Like, if you guys, I know, I'm not sure if Dust Daughters is still here, but she said she listened to the Blur Vision podcast that I'm also a part of. But there's like a running gag on like the Blur Vision podcast of shit Michael hasn't seen yet. So there are movies that we'll bring up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that, but I have the Blu-ray. So he was like, we should probably like do a segment of the show, like, where we just watch movies that you haven't seen and just call the segment shit Michael owns but hasn't watched yet. So yeah. Audiobooks have saved my sister since she became a mother. It's great. And I love audiobooks are both great and terrible, because because there are certain audiobooks where I'm like, this author sucks. And you got to like try to chug your way through it if you want to be able to finish the book, especially if you don't buy it. But I'm just like, oh boy. But there's also another audiobook that I want to get called Sandman by Neil Gaiman. So yeah. I started reading Mariah Carey's book, pretty good so far. She didn't have a good childhood. I mean, I heard a lot of good things about the Mariah Carey book. But yeah, it's not something I would read unless you tell me that Mariah Carey is fighting wizards and demons and stuff like that. That's not to say like fantasy is the only thing that I read. It's not, because I read a couple like I was about to say biopics, but it's not a movie, but autobiographies and stuff like that. Like LL Cool J's book, I Make My Own Rules. I read The Rock's autobiography. There's a couple other autobiographies I've read. So I mean, maybe actually, now that you say it, I probably might check out. And also Trevor Noah's autobiography. I read his book, which is a very good book. I recommend that. Let me look up the name of that book. Can't remember the name of the book. Whatever. Just Google it. Trevor Noah's book, autobiography. Just learning how he grew up and stuff like that. It's a pretty good book. So now that you actually mentioned the Mariah Carey book, I'm gonna see if they have the audio book on here and add it on here. There's another audio book that I've actually thought about looking up too. Jennifer Lawrence's or Jennifer Lewis's book. Yeah, Mariah Carey's book is on here, and I think it's read by Mariah Carey. Is it called The Meaning of Mariah Carey, or is that something completely different? So I think it's yeah. So I have it. There we go. Meaning of Mariah Carey. But what did I just say, guys? It's gonna sit on my Audible thing for like a year, 3 years before I actually sit and listen to it. Especially since I don't go any, like a lot of times I'll listen to audiobooks like when I was at work or when I'm driving to work and stuff like that. But then ever since getting laid off and then with the lockdowns and stuff like that, I don't really leave the house. So like listen to audiobook, my listening to audiobooks has like declined. Because when I'm home, I'm watching like Netflix and Hulu and then looking for stuff to review, which I'm like, I need to do better with my time, like time management. Maybe like serve a certain amount of time for books, certain amount of time for Netflix and yada, 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 whatever. Anyway. No audiobooks or books. F those people. I agree, but there are a lot of audiobook snobs. And they're like, oh, you didn't read the book. You're there. And it's like, yeah, fuck those people. I've been praying for a black gay YouTube film critic. Thank you. Well, thank you for coming here. That is why I started that is the basic reason why I started this channel, because there are a lot of people, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of it has to do with like the only things I watch on YouTube are like fantasy movie stuff or entertainment related or politics related. And obviously I'm more interested in like the fantasy comic book movie related stuff like that. And I noticed that like a lot of movie reviewers and stuff like that, while I appreciate and are fans of their channels, like Jeremy Johns, who's like the biggest, Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman are the two biggest YouTubers in terms of like movie reviewers. Like they are the ones to be. Like they like have over 1 million subscribers and stuff like that. They were like one of the first ones to do it in terms of like a regular person jumping up on YouTube to give their opinion of movies. And while I'm fans of their channel and stuff like that, and then there's a whole bunch of other people, I was just like, yeah, most of those people though are white. And then when you do find black YouTubers or whatever, even talking about comics and all other stuff, fantasy and all other stuff, you find black ones, they're all straight. So I was just like, so then like even when certain characters will come up, like gay characters or anything like that, you have the straight ones like, yeah, I don't really care about this character, but I'm sitting here, I'm like, but I do. And so I'm like, let me jump into, I'm like, I need to shave because this is too ridiculous. Like I haven't been to the barber really since like, probably like, I don't know, like the beginning of this year. So I'm like, when I'm tilting my head and I'm looking at this long ass string, I'm like, ooh, like werewolf transformation has begun. But anyway, yeah. So I was just like, Black Gay Comic Geek. That's why my name is Black Gay Comic Geek. So yeah. Okay, work is setting me free. Happy New Year. And if you're done with the live stream before I get home, thanks for your awesome content. Well, thank you for joining me on the live stream. Happy New Year to you too. Hopefully you get home safe. Hopefully you have a great New Year. And hopefully you, I don't know, celebrate between the new, I'm like, I probably should stop once this live is over. I should stop by the liquor store real quick and like get a bottle of wine. Granted, I'm by myself. I mean, well, I can always go upstairs in my mother's apartment and hang out with her, but like, just like drink a bottle of wine to the head, and that'll be my celebration. Since I'm not. It's just me, and because usually this is the sad part, and why I've also been like the last couple of weeks, I'm just bored. And part of the reason why I wanted to make this live video too, because I haven't really been doing anything like this year. Usually every birthday and holiday and stuff like that, my father's side of the family, so my father, my sisters, and then my stepmother would all get together and we would like exchange cards, exchange gifts, again, on holidays, so Thanksgiving, birthdays, yada, yada, yada. But this year, we didn't do none of that. So like my Christmas was boring. My Thanksgiving was boring. I didn't see my sister on her birthday. I was actually just like 2 weeks ago, I was driving to go pick up some pizza and I called my father. I was like, damn, I haven't seen my father in a while. And he lives right around the corner. So as I'm making my way to go get some pizza, which was on the way to his house, I called him like, hey, what are you doing? I'm on my way to get some pizza. I wanted to stop by. He was like, you're not coming here? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know who you around. I'm like, I'm not around anybody. I don't leave the house. This is like the first time I left the house in like 2 weeks. He's like, I don't care. I was like, and plus, I'm like, I'm around my mother and like she lives right upstairs and I see her all the time. So I'm like, if I had something, she would definitely be sick. And y'all are both the same age. So I'm like, if my mother's fine, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. I'll even wear a mask. And he's like, no, he's like, she in better shape than I am. So no, you're not coming over here. So basically I say all that to say, like, I've been bored. So I appreciate you guys for joining me on this live stream. This has been like the highlight of my couple of weeks. Cause yeah, like I said, if you missed the earlier live stream, I was just like, yeah, I just wake up, I'll eat, watch TV. Of course, I review stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, which I have a lot of fun doing, but I don't do that every single day. But then I get up, watch TV, maybe go upstairs real quick to see my mother and brother, say hi, whatever. But for the most part, I'm back down here and I'm by myself and I'm just browsing TV, browsing the internet. And lately, after doing that for like 3 months, since getting laid off, since I don't go anywhere, I don't have to go to a job or anything like that, I've been extremely bored. So, yes. Wait, what? Maybe you could cover your other interests on the Patreon. I mean, I could. But I'm like, I mean, because my other interests are like theater and acting and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know if that's interesting. I don't know if that's interesting enough. Or there's enough, at least for me, because I'm like, there's enough topic to talk about for that. Like, I guess maybe like a behind the scenes BTS, but I don't know. Again, it's something to figure out for 2020, for 2021 to grow, both the channel, my career as a YouTuber, which hopefully it does become a career and stuff like that. So yeah. You are a Black Gay Nerd. You do what you feel is good. I watch everything you put out. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Oh, wait a minute. I got another super chat from Dust Daughters. Thank you for that $4.99 super chat. I'm still here. Well, thank you for still being here. And I have another again, Dust Daughters. Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. Thank you. Because I was like, what is the name of his book? Yes, Born a Crime. I listened to the audiobook. again, when I still had a job, while I was driving to work, I would play it. And while I was driving home from work, I would play it. When I was at work, I would have my headphones in and I would play it. And it was very good. It was very good. I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed that audiobook. Hey, my speaker, I was literally just talking about not being able to see my sister. Look who's in the chat. My sister's in the chat. Cooling Jelly. She says, not every reader does those audiobooks justice. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, there's certain audiobooks. I've listened to the entire thing. And again, mostly the things I like to listen to and read are fantasy books. And when you are reading a fantasy book, like, you need to put some, like, I need some, like, oomph in that. Like, you can't just be reading it like, and today Jackson woke up and he saw a ghost in his house and he screamed, ah. I'm like, y'all could have hired me to, like, fucking read that audiobook and do a way better job and doing that. Cause I'm like, who hired this person? And granted, I don't want to, talk badly about, or no, I do. I am going to talk badly about, but I'm just like, yeah, who hired this person? How did they get a job? And why didn't I get a job? Why didn't I get that job? Cause I could have did it way better. But yeah, there's certain books that are like, the books are great, but then you listen to the audiobook and it's just like, yeah, no, maybe I'll stick to probably reading it. So, wait, I just lost my spot. Oh, here we go. I can't wait till midnight tonight. I can't wait till 2021 too. At least, hopefully it's not a be careful what you wish for situation. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for 2020 to be behind me. And also, part of it is starting next year because of Congress. With me being unemployed, unemployment insurance goes up, so that'll also be great. Plus, granted, I don't know whose bill, like, how the government thinks we can survive off this, but we're also getting that little $600 check. That's at least, well, some people already got it, but I think for me, it's probably coming because I think the way they did it last year is going through alphabetical order. And my last name is S, starts with an S, so I probably won't get it till next year. So that'll be two things to look forward to next year. But I'm like, I wish I was in Canada because they got $2,000 a month since the pandemic started. But America's trash. We can only send out a one-time payment of basically $1,800 if you combine the $1,200 and the $600, plus the little tiny bit they're giving with unemployment insurance. Trash. Did you add the Wind Through the Keyhole to that? It's a spinoff to the Dark Tower series. I think I have Wind Through the Keyhole. Yeah, Wind Through the Keyhole is in the list for the Dark Tower series. But yeah, definitely plan on checking that out eventually. Like I said, I'm going to try to, 2021 is going to be the year I'm going to try to force myself to read more in addition to, like, obviously doing what I'm doing now. So, but my focus is going to be on Black books first. So Stephen King could be as prolific and world renowned as Stephen King is. He's going to have to wait, especially, Stephen King has a lot of issues with how he treats Black characters. So yeah, we're going to put you on the back burner for now. The first book I'll probably read is I need to finish Kindred. I'm going to do Parable of the Sower, Parable of Talent, and then finally jump into Children of Blood and Bone. I probably should do Children of Blood and Bone first, because if you guys did not watch the Disney investor meeting, Lucasfilm, who is the studio that are in charge of Star Wars, they actually bought the rights to Tomi Adeyemi's book, Children of Blood and Bone, and they're adapting it into a movie. They didn't say when the movie is supposed to come out, but I'm like, I probably should read it before the movie comes out. Or maybe I'll wait, because I actually prefer to see the movie first before reading the book. I know there are a lot of people that prefer to read the book before seeing the movie, but I like to do it the opposite way, because then That way, if your first impression is the movie, you're not sitting there comparing it, because more times than not, the book is always better than the adaptation, whether it's movie or TV show. The book is usually always better. And so I don't want to be, I don't want to put myself in a situation where you're sitting there comparing it, or 9 times out of 10, they always change stuff out the book. And I don't want to be sitting there, well, that was stupid. Why did they change that? I don't like that, or whatever. So even with Harry Potter, like I saw Harry Potter first, and then after I read the books, there was so much more expansion of the world and so many more scenes in the book that it actually made me appreciate the book even more than if I would have read the book first and then watched the movie, and then sitting there like, well, they left this out, because there's so much that they leave out in Harry Potter. And I'm like, well, they left this out, and why wouldn't they add this? And this is whatever, this is stupid. Or no. So yeah, I usually like to wait and watch the property first before I read the book. I bought a book 2 years ago and still haven't read it. You're in the same boat. You're in the same boat as me. I'm still waiting on that to arrive. I've then said so much. I'm like waiting on what to arrive. I don't remember what I said. You can probably start off with graphic novels. They're easier to start with, and you're likely to finish them quickly. Maybe, but when it comes to any type of reading, even if it's 25 pages, because like I mentioned, I was like, even there are comics that I haven't even picked up and read. And a lot of comics are like 25 pages. Even those, I'm just like, I'll get to it. And then I get to it, just turns into. So yeah, like I have a problem, guys. Is One Warlock's love story on audiobook? I need a new fan. No, unfortunately, it is not on audiobook. It's like I mentioned, it's a self-published book, and usually, like, and that's not to say self-published books don't have audiobooks. Well, most more times than not, usually people that self-publish don't necessarily have the funds to also do audiobook. So unfortunately, it's not on audiobook. So you have to get the actual physical book. The only problem with the series that I find myself, because it's only 5 books. I don't know if he finished it or if he just stopped writing or whatever. Because I'm actually friends with him on Facebook, and I haven't seen him on Facebook or anything like that. So I mean, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's still alive. But I don't know if he only planned on writing 5 books, but there's only 5 books. And I tried to buy the 5th book on Amazon, and it's like, it says unavailable. So I'm like, I can't get the 5th book anywhere. So I'm like, that's the one downside, I would say, to that. If you do plan on jumping into that series, like when I tried to get the 5th book, I can't find it, but you can get 4. I have the first 4. So. And it was a good little short read. Like I said, the main character is a warlock, gay male. His name is Xander Knight, and his love interest was a werelion. So, which is kind of right up my alley, because I say for like the longest time, because I love werewolves, and I've been saying for like the longest time, I want to date a werewolf. Like werewolves would be like, especially during the winter time, like cuddling with a werewolf and stuff like that. I'm just thinking about it right now, and I'm like, it'd be so great, because like werewolves, if you know anything about the lore of werewolves and stuff like that, their body temperature runs hotter than normal humans. Even go with a normal dog. Like you take a dog's temperature, their normal temperature is like 110 degrees and stuff like that. But with us humans, if we had 110 degree temperature, you need to take your ass to the emergency room, because to take a quote from Ghost, Molly, you in danger, girl. And so werewolves run hot, so like 110, 15, 20 degrees. And so you're like lying on that in a cold winter night. You're cuddling next to a werewolf. Plus, werewolves, they're loyal, they're protective, they're fierce, all that other stuff. I'm like, I want to date a werewolf. And so because of that, going back to like thinking of, creating fantasy stories, I'm like, I think my main character should fall in love with a werewolf. There we go. So yeah, one warlock love story is like right up my alley, with the main lead being a warlock, which, blood, sex, gore, magic. I love magic. I love witchcraft and wizardry and all that other stuff. That's why I like Doctor Strange is one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, because he's the sorcerer supreme. I love Willow Rosenberg is my favorite character on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because, she's a witch, super powerful witch. Granted, it has its problems, but I like Charmed. So, yeah. That book was like right up my alley. Would you do a watch party? Maybe a movie we all know? Actually, funny enough, I was upset at myself because I wanted to do a live watch reaction video or whatever to the Disney investor meeting when they had all their announcements of everything that they were going to do. And I didn't know, like, I knew that they were going to announce stuff, but I didn't know they were going to have like a live watch or whatever that people could stream and stuff like that. And I'm like, had I known, I would have loved to like do it live and like give my reaction and stream it, with everybody. But yeah, but I would love to do like a live watch party. The only problem with that, especially with regards to YouTube, maybe that would have to be something that I would do on Patreon, is like, if if we're all watching it together, because obviously I wouldn't be able to show it on screen. But even with that, you have the audio coming through the camera, unless maybe I wear headphones. But like, because if any audio or anything like that comes through the camera and YouTube picks that up, that's an automatic copyright flag. I hope I didn't scare anybody, maybe having headphones or something in their ears, like, oh shit. But doing that is like an automatic copyright flag, and the video will get like demonetized or whatever, because you're live streaming a movie or whatever. Granted, even if I'm not showing it, the audio is still coming through. So I would have to figure out the logistics or something like that. Maybe, like I said, maybe that's something I would have to do on Patreon. So yeah, you'll like The Sandman. I heard a lot of good things about it. Especially because I looked at the voice cast of who was doing the Sandman audiobook, and I was like, oh, this sounds like it's gonna be epic. So yeah, and plus Neil Gaiman is great. Like, I read American Gods, and I really enjoyed it. That's actually the only Neil Gaiman book I ever read. But I liked American Gods. The show is a whole different story. I'm not going to talk about what they did with Orlando Jones and firing a Nazi because he wanted to make the show more black. Trash. People are trash. So true. I'm listening to an audiobook, but it's not clear if they're black. I'll bawl if the reader sounds not black. I'm not sure what book. Maybe you're talking about Sandman, but I don't. Yeah, Sandman. The people that do the audiobooks aren't black. So yeah. What else? Jennifer. Trevor Noah's audiobook was great. Listen with my sister. Jennifer Lewis's book is definitely a great read. And I mean, I love Jennifer Lewis, and I believe she read the audiobook. She read her own audiobook. So just listening to her talk alone is going to be a hoot, especially getting more into her life. So again, it's on my list. I'll get to it in 10 years. just like Sloan said, it'll be 5 years till you read it. That's like the theme with me. It'll be 5 years before I watch all the shows on my DVD shelf, actually get through all these books. There's like so many books that I have, especially new books that I just recently bought from people of color. And then also, like, if I were to review books, it won't just be black authors. Like, I will also do people of color as well. Because I also have Jade War by Fonda Lee. I mean, Jade City and Jade War by Fonda Lee, and she's an Asian author. I've heard very good things about that book, but that would be something I would also like if I were to review books. Maybe, again, that depends on the interest. Add that into my my thing, so it's not just it's also people of color as well. But yeah, there's a lot of books that I also want to get. Like, there's another book called Legend Born that I want to check out. There's another YA fantasy book called Cinderella is Dead. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I'm looking at the book. I'm like, I want to get through Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Then the sequel, Fires of Vengeance. Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote a fantasy book called The Water Dancer. Yeah, there's a lot. And then plus, in addition to all the properties that are coming out next year, like WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow, The Matrix 4, Mortal Kombat is coming out. I believe Upload Season 2 is coming out next year. I think it's coming out next year. I don't know. But if you haven't seen Upload, I did mention, because somebody asked me what was my top 3 favorite shows of the year. Upload, it will be number 2. So if you haven't checked out Upload, I did review that, non-spoiler review, but definitely check that out. It's on Amazon Prime. I actually liked it, the concept and stuff like that. It was a very interesting concept, and I like the world building and the acting and all that other stuff. So, and number 1 is Lovecraft Country. Yeah, The Mother of Black Hollywood. That's the name of the book. Jennifer Lewis. Oh, wait a minute. Just got another super chat. Chat made the chat jump. Where'd the super chat go? Oh, wait. There we go. From Jessica, $10 super chat. Thank you for that $10 super chat. You get another. My legs are going to be red. But what was it saying? Just saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. 2021, we are going to be more positive this year. Yes, we're going to be more positive. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. Knock those black books out like Children of Blood and Bone. Yes, I will knock that out. I will knock that book out. Maybe I was going to say it probably won't be in 2021, but we're going to shoot for. We're going to try. We're going to try. I need to do better. I'm terrible. Okay, no, we're going to make a plan. Even if I don't review any books, I'm going to try to force myself to get back into it. I'm like looking at this shelf and I'm just like, it's a lot. It's like, it's a lot of books, guys. Let's look at this. And a lot of these on the top 2 shelves are all the black books that I just recently bought. And also Jade War by the Asian author. And part of that also was the fact that, because I have another book. I don't have to really show you guys, but obviously you guys watch my channel. I usually review my all my content right over there. So you see the tripod, the Killmonger mask, and then another bookshelf over there, and the door where my rainbow flag usually is. So it's been a year since I've been in this apartment, and only in the last couple of months did I finally start putting stuff away, because I had a whole bunch of books and stuff like that piled up. And so that's why I had to buy this second bookshelf. And while I was putting away all my books, I was noticing in all the fantasy books, I was like, wait a minute. Pretty much all of these books about white people. And granted, that's not to disparage, white author, because Stephen King and stuff like that, they're great reads or whatever. But I was just like, I don't really have any black fantasy books, and that is terrible. Like, all the black books that I have are non-fantasy, like Elin Harris, Invisible Life type of books, or non-fantasy books, realistic books like Black History books. Like before I'm like looking at Before the Mayflower, History of Black America, or The Destruction of Black Civilization, a whole bunch of non-fantasy books that were black. But I was like, but in terms of black fantasy, I was like, I don't really have shit. That needs to change. So I just went on a spree of buying a bunch of stuff, like the L.L. McKinney book, Blade So Black, and yada, 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 Ta-Nehisi Coates, Kindred, Octavia Butler, Children of Blood and I had Children of Blood and Bone, so that was like another one that I had. But other than that, yeah, I didn't really have any. So that's definitely changing. So support black people is what I'm gonna say. Which, yes, definitely, I obviously had to speak for myself too, because clearly I wasn't doing it, which was trash. And I was actually surprised when I was putting away my books. I was like, wow, I have no black fantasy. I never noticed that. So, yeah, 2021. Listen to Jessica. Make sure you guys hit that like button, folks. Like I said, it's only 21 people in here, and I'm already at 23 likes. So, but In case you guys, I'm speaking to you guys that aren't here live and you end up watching this live on the replay. If you even get to this far in the replay, like most people probably won't watch a 2-hour video on a live replay. But if you do get this far and you do watch this live video, make sure to hit that like button, please. Thank you. And sorry I missed you, but hopefully you join me for the next live. I see the comments. Where was I? Hit that like button. Okay. All right, there we go. Didn't somebody pick up Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James? Yep. I have that right here too. Black Leopard, Red Wolf. And basically people describe it as a black Game of Thrones. That's what I heard. That's what I heard people describing that as. And yeah, it's another book. Again, talking about shit that's on my list of things to read. This is another one. And this thing is thick. How many pages is this? But, you know, I like it thick. I mean, what? It's like 620 pages. But yeah, it's on my list. I'll probably read it by 2030. I heard somebody say it was a hard read. Like, in terms of like, just like the way he crafts his like prose and just like the world building and stuff like that. Like the first 100 pages, it's like a slog to get through because it's like so much stuff being put into it. But then once you get past those first 100 pages, like then after that, like it goes. But I'm excited. I think I read somewhere that a studio bought the rights to produce the book and to make the book into a movie. I think I read that somewhere. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I could be confusing that with something else, but yeah, hopefully we get to see more black authors getting their work adapted. Like shit like that annoys me. Like funny enough, like because I'm seeing a lot of properties getting rebooted and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go much longer after this because, you know, I've been 2 hours. Y'all probably getting tired of me. But and plus, I know y'all got lives and stuff like that. But I saw like a lot like HBO. I saw they're rebooting True Blood. And I'm just like, why? True Blood has been off the air for less than 10 years. Why are you rebooting True Blood with a whole new cast and all that other stuff? Like, you mean to tell me there were no black authors or black books that you could adapt for HBO Max? Like, it's trash. So, again, rooting for everybody black. Did you learn anything from True Blood? I'm not sure what that comment is referencing, but I did watch. I have the books. I read the books and I watched the show. I was a fan of True Blood, the show. I thought the show True Blood, I think, went to shit after season 4. And I think the books went to shit after maybe book 6. Like, and I have all of them. Well, I have most of them on my bookshelf over there. And I was so disappointed by that book series. Like, I read up to book 12, and there's 13 books in the entire series. But book 12 was so bad. I was like, yeah, fuck that last book. I'm done. I'm not even going to bother. Maybe I'll download the audiobook, maybe just to say I finished the series. And then not pay for it, not give Charlene Harris another dime of my money, get a free audiobook. But at the same time, it's also been so long since I read that last book. I'm like, I don't even really remember exactly what happened, but I do remember it was so fucking trash that I was like, I don't even want to read the last book. And it was the last book, but I was like, I don't even care how this ends at this point. Like, you done squandered all your goodwill with me. So yeah, I'm done. I love werewolves. Apparently I'm part werewolf. I don't shave my legs in the winter. I mean, You don't have to. Like, what did India Ari said? I'm not your average girl from the video. My worth ain't built by the price of my clothes. What's the part where she said the shaving part? I'm like drawing a blank to the lyrics. I don't know lyrics, guys. But so, yeah, you don't shave your legs. That's fine. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yes, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite shows. I love Buffy. I have to Zoom a student now. Got to go. Love what you made of your channel. Talk to you later. Well, thank you for joining me, sis. I appreciate. Like I said, I'm not about to be on here much longer, so I'm gonna get off in a little bit. So, but yeah, I see people. Yeah, people leaving. All right, y'all. My alarm just went off. I gotta get ready to bring in the new year in the house. Happy New Year, everyone. Did you ever get into How to Get Away with Murder? I wish I'd seen videos from you on that. I do watch How to Get Away with Murder. I wouldn't review. Yeah, that's not something I would review. That's not like my channel is mostly focused on fantasy, and that's not fantasy. That's fiction, but it's not fantasy. So, yeah, I did watch How to Get Away with Murder. I'm a fan of How to Get Away with Murder. I love Viola Davis. Funny enough, I didn't finish How to Get Away with Murder. Spoilers for How to Get Away with Murder, but the last thing that I saw, if you don't want to know, like mute it for like 2 seconds and I'll like wave my hand again for you to unmute it. But the last thing I saw, the last season I saw How to Get Away with Murder is when you found out that What's-His-Face died. I can't think of his name, but the guy that played the black guy from Harry Potter. The one that was why can't I think of his name? But the one that people call an ostrich because he has a long neck. And when he died, that was the last thing I saw. So I don't even know how he died or anything like that, but that was the last thing I saw for How to Get Away with Murder. So I need to go back and finish it. Also need to finish Scandal. I haven't finished Scandal either. So Wes, somebody said Wes, somebody said Will. But yeah, Alfred Enoch, him. When he died, that was the last thing I saw from How to Get Away with Murder. And I believe What's-Her-Face was pregnant with his child or some shit. That's the only thing. But yeah, end of spoilers for How to Get Away with Murder. But I need to finish that. And I also need to finish Scandal too. I didn't finish Scandal either. I think the last 2 seasons I didn't finish. So I need to see how it ends. Has anyone read The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm by Nancy Farmer? It's on my to-do list. If anybody on here has read it, let Greta know. I've never actually heard of it. I actually looked that up. Is that is that a black author? Is that a black book? Maybe that's something I'll add to my shelf that I'll read in like 20 years. Why? I'm assuming you meant why aren't any folks developing N.K. Jemisin? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they are developing something from N.K. Jemisin. Let me just double check this real quick. I forgot which series, but oh yeah, here it is. And it's taking forever to load. Blah blah. No. All right, whatever. This thing's taking forever. Anyway, I was trying to show you the article, but basically, yeah, the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin is actually being developed into a TV series, and that's actually, on my shelf. Another book. I have all 3. The Broken Earth trilogy is what it's called. I have the 5th season, The Obelisk Gate, and what is that last one called? The Stone Sky. They're adapting that into a television show. So your wish has been granted. N.K. Jemisin, she is getting her own series finally. There's so many black authors that should be adapted into television or live action. It's like, but they keep going back to the same well. Like we're getting a television series of Lord of the Rings or whatever, which is fine. I'm gonna check it out, but it's like there are other things that they could give us. They're rebooting. And this is the age of reboots. Everything's getting a reboot. Like I mentioned, True Blood is rebooting. And then it brings up to this other question. Somebody asked if they're still rebooting Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Last I heard, I'm like, wait a minute, like stream is like skipping. There we go. Last I heard, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is still getting rebooted. I haven't heard anything since like 2018. All I know is the person that's supposed to be show running the Buffy reboot, her name is like Monica Breen or something like that, a black woman. But other than that, I haven't heard anything else regarding Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'm assuming they're still going forward with it. They're just like writing the show, and then eventually once they're done writing the show, they have to cast it and then shoot it and then all that stuff. So, and that takes a while. So as far as I know right now, they're still doing it. Have you heard of Adorned by Shy? It's a black-led comic manga. I have not, but I would definitely put that and check that out. Adorned. Boom. Popped right up. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm always looking for, black comic indie stuff that, I think I recommended a bunch of black indie comics on my last live stream that I have like books from Stranger Comics. I mentioned Godhood Comics, Ray Comics with his series Alchemist, Greg Day with his comic series It's Not Another Were Spider, Impound Comics with his books, Eminent Comics. I can go on. There's another comic series called Omni with a black woman superhero. Well, I don't know if she's a superhero, but she has powers, so superhero. But yeah, that's ultimately, now that I'm pretty much all caught up with the chat, I guess we could pretty much end it here. Yeah, Wes. Met Wes. Black fantasy book. Okay, so it is a black fantasy book. So I'll check that out. What was the name? Hold on, let me scroll back up real quick. Find your last comment. I'm like, what was the name of it again? Okay. The ear, the eye, and the arm. Let me write that down real quick. The ear, the eye. There we go. Boom. Pop right up. All right. And it has an Audible book, so that'll be another thing I'll add to my Audible. More of a child science fiction. That's fine. I doesn't matter if it's like child science fiction. I like reading YA. Like Harry Potter. When I read Harry Potter, by the time I got to the point where I actually read Harry Potter, it wasn't for my age group, but I still really enjoyed it. I believe the book A Blade So Black that I mentioned, it's a YA book. I'm not a young adult. I'm going to be 35 next year. Oh, somebody stabbed me. I'm no longer going to be in my early 30s. Once you pass the 35 mark, you're in your mid, or you're in your late. So once you go 25, now you're 26, now you're in your late 20s. Now I'm in my late 30s. I'm like, where did the time go? Can we like Missy Elliott? It's put your thing out, flip it and reverse it. You're in the whatever she said. Man, yeah, can we do that? Like my age, like keep the knowledge, but go back to when I had hair. I'm in Buffy is going to be black. Actually, that's not correct. It's a misconception. It's not going to be Buffy. Like it's a reboot of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer world, but Buffy is not going to be in it. It takes place 20 years after, or whatever, 20 plus years after Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And so it's going to be following a brand new Slayer, and this Slayer is going to be black. So that's the premise of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot. But because it's based in the Buffy world, obviously you get more clicks and more articles or whatever if you say Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot as opposed to new Slayer is coming or whatever. So that's going to be the premise of the Buffy reboot. But yeah, that's it. I think I caught up with all the comments. There's no more No more comments. I don't think I missed any. Did I miss any more super chats? No, I think I got all the super chats. Thank you guys for the super chats. But yeah, ultimately, that's pretty much all I got. I appreciate, and that's all you got. You know, we age slowly. We still look young. I mean, yeah, black don't crack unless you're mixed, unless you got mixed with white or whatever. Then yeah, then it'll crack a little bit. But I appreciate you guys for joining me on this live video. We went for 2.5 hours. I thank you for being here. If you were here for the entire 2.5 hours, I thank you for being here for the entire 2.5 hours. If you had to drop off, I thank you for even joining me for however long you were here. If you watch this on the replay, thank you guys for watching. If you're on the replay, please be sure to hit that like button for this video. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe for more videos. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you guys have a great New Year. Hopefully 2021 treats you way better than it did in 2020. And be on the lookout for the next review that I'm going to do for probably the first video, maybe not tomorrow, but first video I'm going to do for 2021, which would be Alice on the Borderland. I did recommend that. Definitely check that out. It's on Netflix. And I will catch you guys. Happy New Year. Thanks for all the great content. I appreciate you guys for watching. If nobody watched me, I wouldn't be here. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I love you guys. 3,000 to take from Avengers. And I wish you all the best. And once again, Happy New Year. Thank you again for joining me for the live. Ciao. I probably should listen to an audiobook after I leave, but it's not going to happen. Bye.